a critical mechanical component of a truck has this variation. It's probably the mirror or something like that, right? Has this variation of amplitude of vibration versus driving frequency with a moderate amount of damping, meaning, of course, we can damp it more or less, right? What is the resonant frequency of the component? Well, if it's really pretty light damping, this pretty much that peak is it, right? So that is 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. Okay, so that is 12. 12 hertz. It's the peak. Okay. On the graph to the left, draw the curve if the damping is slightly increased. Okay. With the Q. Okay, so the Q factor, remember, is how many times it'll bounce. So would the Q factor be more or less? Well, if you increase the damping, you decrease the Q factor. Right? The Q factor. So that would be, the Q factor would be less. Okay, with more damping, right? So remember, if you increase the damping, what you get with an increase of damping is, if you increase the damping, you get a lower peak because there's more resistive force, so you don't get the same amplitude, right? A lower peak. You get a broader peak, broader. I'm just going to take it from broader peak, right? And it just shifts slightly left. Let's see if we can do that. Okay, and then at the extremes, it's the same. So we're going to start here. We're going to go broader peak, that, right? Okay, that's terrible. Let's see if I can do it. Okay, so notice that the peak is slightly to the left of that guy, right? Okay, so we're doing this guy. And then at the extremes, it just sort of more or less follows that, right? And if we decrease the damping, it's going to bounce more times. So the Q is sort of like how many times it bounces before it stops. So if we decrease the damping, the Q is more, right? And this peak is going to be more pointy. It's going to be above. It's going to be about the same, right? This guy will be pointy a little bit to the right of that guy. And then like that. It's so much harder to do this with a stylus, okay? So this is higher Q. Higher Q. That is a lower Q. Higher Q, that's H-I-G-H. I don't know if you can tell. Higher. Oh my gosh. A higher Q, right? Okay, or decreased damping, right? This is lower Q or increased damping. All right, I imagine you stopped watching this video a long time ago, so